Hi everybody, I have been getting some great emails from all of you, and today I want to come on and make this short video to answer some of the questions that you've had about the free world history curriculum. So the first question that I think I get the most is, what exactly is covered in this curriculum? And there is good news because I have now finished ancient civilizations in the Old Testament all the way through modern American history. So we are not only covering ancient history in this free world history curriculum, but we are now covering early American history all the way through modern American history. So let's look at what exactly is covered in this curriculum, and hopefully this will answer some of your questions. First, the ancient civilizations and Old Testament. And today we're going to look at this. I'm going to show you what's included in it, how you can use it, why you might want to use a chronicle history study to begin with, and how you can add all your own creative ideas to teach all your kids at one time, which is so much easier. All right, so we have the ancient civilizations, we have ancient Egypt and ancient China. This section will soon be two separate sections. I'd like to do a whole separate section on ancient China, but it's not done yet, so I've combined those two. The third section is ancient Greece. The fourth section is ancient Rome, followed by the Middle Ages. That one is super, super fun. And just recently we've added the free early American history curriculum and the free modern American history curriculum. Something else you may not realize if you're using this curriculum is that I also have a bunch of free American history unit studies. Native America, Colonial America, America's Southwest Frontier, the Pioneers, the Civil War, the turn of the century, the Great Depression, and up to World War II. And I'm always adding new ones. These are great to go along with the early and modern American history curriculum. The difference between this curriculum series and the unit studies are that the unit studies cover all areas. So they cover science and history and geography and language arts, and anything you can think of pretty much is covered. Music, art is all covered in these unit studies. So even if you don't use the unit studies, you may get some great ideas to plug into the free early and modern history curriculum as well. So I think that covers what's covered in this curriculum. It's pretty much entire start to finish of world history. A good overview of all of those. All right, so the second question I get asked most often, and there is some confusion about this, is it really free? What do I need to buy? Surely I need to buy something. I will tell you, it is completely free online. You can use it without any cost. Just go to Fields of Daisies and click on this. If you can see right up here, it's the free world history curriculum, and that is the overview. And from there, you can click on any one of these sections in the curriculum that I've discussed today. I think there are even links in that very first post for the American Girl units. So that is really the place to start. And yes, it's completely free. So do you have to buy anything? The answer is no. You don't have to buy a single thing. However, you will hear me mention core reading, and I refer to it in those free units. That is something you can add if you would like to. It really does give some hands-on time for your student to read, for you guys to read as a family. Reading online is great. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I love to have some books. So let me show you some of the books that I have suggested for the Ancient Civilizations unit, since that's the one we're kind of using as an example today. So the first one is A Child's History of the World by Virgil Hillier. This is an old book. It looks like an old book. It is well loved in our family, with the exception of the first chapter, which you may have some issues with, so please preview it as you would with every book. This is kind of like the spine or the core reading. I have listed the pages that go along in the free unit with each day's lesson plan. So if, for example, you are talking about the ancient kingdom of Africa, I will have the page numbers listed in this book that go along with it. Do you have to have this book? Once again, nope, you do not have to have this book. Some other ones I have are Story of the World. If you're doing the Bible part, the Victor Journey Through the Bible is great. I love the History Detective series. This one is on great civilizations, and it talks about what a civilization is. And the reason I love it is because it has really great pictures and small bites of reading. I think that your kids really will get curious about what you're studying with these small little bits of information. Adam and His Kin by Ruth Beechick is a classic, and it's excellent for this unit. Genesis, Finding Our Roots. Also, if you're concerned, if you are not a Christian and you're using this curriculum and you think that there's too much, I am a Christian, so that absolutely plays a part in all of my curriculum. However, most of what you will find in here is absolutely historical. It is proven. And that brings me to the next book, which is all about archaeology. So, archaeology is a great place to bring in some science and some really cool, interesting facts, especially on the ancient civilizations, because obviously nobody is living today that was living then. So some of the discoveries even recently have been just amazing. And so this is another great way to get your kids interested. Of course, classic Usborne World History. I love this book. And from Greenleaf Press, The Story of the Ancient World. That's particularly good if you have some older kids. So, do you have to have all of these books? No. And guess what? In the book list, you will find a whole bunch of other books that I suggest, particularly historical fiction that goes along with this, each unit actually, that adds also to the unit. Do you need to buy those? No, you do not. It just adds to the unit. So, what is a chronological history curriculum? I get asked that very frequently, and when I started homeschooling 30 years ago, chronological history was very, very popular. I used it all the way through homeschooling my 3 children, and I think it gave us a great understanding, not just of history, but of the world we live in today, because everything is built on the foundation of what came before it. So chronological history is simply the study of the past in chronological order. Why would you want to use that type of history instead of topical? So topical history study might be 1 year you study American history, 1 year you study ancient Egypt, 1 year you study ancient China, 1 year you study world history as a whole, and you're kind of jumping all over the place. Most of the core curriculum in public schools is kind of like that. You might have state history, but it jumps all over the place. Chronological history is very ordered, and you can see how one civilization built on all that came before them and brought us to where we are today. That is one reason that you might like to use chronological history. The other reason that I absolutely love is that it makes it very, very easy to teach all your children at once. If you have more than 1 or 2 kids, it becomes a little tedious and time consuming to teach each child a different topic in history, particularly. Also science and other things, but we'll get to that in a minute. Using the chronological history approach, you can teach all your kids at once really, really simply with just a few little tweaks here and there. It's quite easy, and we'll talk about how to do that when we get to question number 4. So this approach, also the third reason that you may like to use a chronological history curriculum, is that it makes it quite easy to incorporate other subject areas to get even a fuller understanding of what you're studying. For example, if you are studying ancient Egypt, you could also study literature of ancient Egypt, science of ancient Egypt, the art of ancient Egypt, geography of ancient Egypt, and before you know it, you have covered most of your subject areas for school for the day with one single related topic. It makes curriculum planning really easy, and it makes it much less expensive, believe it or not. So that's another reason why you may like to use a chronological approach to history. All right, so I'm trying to go through these rather quickly. I hope I'm answering your questions. If you have other questions, leave them below in the comment section and I'll just make another video. All right, question number 4. How do you use this curriculum? You go online, you see the curriculum, it's on the computer screen. What do you do with it? First of all, this curriculum was created so that you could be free to teach it as you like and to enjoy learning as a family. Like I said earlier, all you really need is the internet and some creativity. Choose your core reading. That's the place to start. We are going to go through and I'll show you in a moment the actual pages of the curriculum printed out and how you might be able to use it. But the first thing to do is choose your core reading. That's some of the books that I showed you before, such as Child's History of the World. That would be a core. The Story of the World could be the core reading, but you're free to choose your own. There's so many books of ancient history out there, you could choose your own. Those 2 are already done for you and the pages are listed. Do you need to do both the Child's History of the World and Story of the World? No, only if you want to do that. They overlap quite a bit. It really depends on how old your children are, and you want something either they can read themselves or that you can read aloud to them and it will be something on their level. And you need the internet. The whole entire unit is online. However, you can, I've also made it available in a PDF form so you can print it out. I will show you what that looks like in a moment. Let's see. Let's open a day here. And I'm going to show this to you more in depth in just a minute. This is what it would look like printed out. Day 2, it has what to read, the pages. It has reading links. They're all live links, so links online where you can read. It has videos that specifically go with today's topic and the reading. And then it has places to explore online, like this one has archaeology games. It has some new discoveries, stories about ancient cultures. So all of this is things you can explore online. It has a project from one of the books I suggested. Also links to coloring pages that go along specifically with this unit. And then it has an activity to do. So most all of the days are pretty much laid out the same way. That is in the PDF. Otherwise, just click it on your computer screen and you're good to go. All right, so what do you add in? Personally, we are a book-loving family, so we add in lots of reading. We love historical fiction, but there's also Usborne particularly has really good, vivid, colored books on all of these topics. Very easy to find in Amazon. I've made a book list specifically for each section of this curriculum, so you can check out the books that I recommend, or go find your own on there. Go to the library with a list. I have in the PDF available for each unit. I have a book list, so you can write your books that you are looking for and take it to the library, or go online and find them there. Also, you will find links for podcasts, songs, timelines, audiobooks, movies, games, printables, all of these different things. In each unit, I have all of those listed in a top 10 posts. So find some extra fun things to add. All of that is really important to make this as full of a unit as your kids have interest to learn. All right, then like I had mentioned before, with a easy part about chronological history is it's great to combine with other subject areas. Find some art or an artist that goes along with the time period you're studying. Add in some geography. Find the places you're talking about on maps. Science. I have science resources, science books listed for every single one of the sections in this curriculum. Hands-on projects. I always include a whole week of hands-on projects. You could break it down and do one each week, or you could spend a whole week making a history museum of all the projects. It's great fun. Math. Most of the time, people have their own math curriculum and they really like it, but there are some great math books that have a theme like circumference and the dragon of pi. There are some that would be great for the Middle Ages. So look around. I frequently include those in my book lists for each section as well. And field trips. Don't you love homeschooling? Go on a Monday when nobody is there. Go to the art museum and see a sarcophagus or a scarab or something from ancient Greece. It's fabulous, and it makes all of the things that you're studying come to life in real time. Also, songs, stories, other things like that. I have Pinterest boards for each one of these sections as well, and I'm always adding to them, so go check those out. And lastly, email me. If you need some help, if you're stuck, you're not sure how to use one of these units, hopefully this will help add a lot of information for you. But email me. I'll be glad to chat with you anytime. All right, last thing before I show you the curriculum, how we used this history curriculum. History binders. I made a post and other YouTube video that shows you how to make a timeline of history binder for your family. Do you have to make a binder? No, this is just something that my family loved to do. And we'll talk more about that in a minute when I show you what's behind the pages for this unit. Talk a lot. Be curious yourself. Think of questions that you have about the topic you're studying. Find out the answers. Ask your kids if they know the answers. When you get up and you're having breakfast, talk about some cool fact that you learned about ancient Egypt or ancient Babylon or something like that. I have another post for each one of these sections called 21 Fascinating Facts. So those are also super fun to add to these units, and I'll show you that when we get further in and I show you the curriculum. And keep it accessible. On your coffee table, have a little basket of books that are about ancient civilizations. If you have the space, have a little separate table or bookshelf that has books, coloring books, little figurines, some crafts that you've tried for the section of history that you're studying, photos from a field trip you took. Get that photo of the sarcophagus and put it on the table so the kids can go back and look at it when they're reading about it. any kind of little replicas that you can find. Museum bookstores are great for this, but you know, little papyrus leaves or paper made out of reeds, clay pots, an oil lamp, little things like that. Anything, trinkets that bring what you're reading about to life for your kids are also great to add. Okay, question number 5. What does this curriculum actually look like? Well, I'll show you. Clearly, you can go online and see the entire curriculum free. I also have some printables available, and they are linked online, so you can find them there, and I'll also include them below in this video. Okay, so to begin, you will find the timeline, and this is true of every one of the sections in this curriculum. They are all pretty much laid out the same so that you can easily go from one part of the curriculum to the next. And also, I've had someone recently ask me, do I have to start in the ancient civilizations? Can I start in the Middle Ages? Well, of course you can. You do not have to use a chronological study approach to this history curriculum. Jump in wherever you want to and study away. It will work just fine. But if you are using it chronologically, all of the parts in the series are laid out just the same. So you'll have a timeline with dates. This particular first unit is a little difficult with dating, but I address that in the unit, so you can read about that there. There's an overview of what's covered each week, so at a glance you can easily find out what that is. If you decide to purchase the PDF, you can print all of this out and put it in your binder like I have done. All right, is also a suggested vocabulary words for this section. Do you have to use the vocabulary words I picked? Absolutely not. I just picked some to give you an idea of what to do. This will depend a lot on how old your kids are. If you're teaching all your kids at once, which we will discuss soon, they may like to keep their own notebooks with their own vocabulary words. When they come to a word in the reading, or they come to a word you think that is very instrumental to understanding that culture, write it down, put it in a book. At one point we had a big whiteboard, and we just kept our words up on a big whiteboard so we could review them. Vocabulary notebooks are super fun, and you can also use some of the sheets I have made in my printable packs to keep your history vocabulary right in your history binder. Also, I've listed people and places for each section that are key. Do you have to use my people and places? No, you can certainly take your own from the reading. Also, I have included events that take place. So there's people, places, events in every section that your kids should know. I also have included something new that I intend to expound on too. If you'd like to have corresponding Bible reading that goes along with the ancient world history, I've included that. I've included where to read in the Bible as well. And I'll show you some more on that in just a moment. So here is a list. Quite easy. Write down the book and the author, which week you're going to use it, if you buy it, if you own it, or if you need to find it at the library. And then you can choose read aloud or independent reading for your kiddos. All right. Another thing that I've added recently is history cards for all of these units. Guess what? These are free for this unit. Grab these at least. If you don't grab them for the rest of the units, at least get them for the ancient civilizations and check them out. They're free and they're super fun. We have, you will also find all different kinds of games to play with them and how we use them. All right, so here's just a quick example of them. They come in 2 different ways. I have black and white ones for younger kids or older kids or grown-ups like me who like to color. I have them in black and white, and then you can color them in. I have mine laminated. That is super helpful if you're going to use this more than 1 year. My kids like to write 3 facts sometimes on the back to see for a game, which I'll explain later. All right, so also I have some pre-made ones. Instead of black and white, they're all fully colored and usually from a painting. So here's an example of the colored ones and then the ones that are already done. I also have places cards like Babylonia, Mesopotamia. They also come in black and white and also fully colored. So you can choose whichever kind you want. Print as many as you want. Maybe you want a set for each kid, or maybe you just want to have one set for your family. One of you had a great idea and a request for me to put them in order on here. So you will also find in that history card set all of the cards in order, and then you could match the place cards with the people, or the people cards with the place, or the event cards, and there's a lot of that described in the games that I have listed, but here that is. Here is the reading that goes with each card from the scripture, if you would like to do that. And here is a list of a bunch of different kinds of games you can play using those cards. So since they're free, get them. They'll be a great addition to your Ancient Civilizations curriculum. Okay, here is the printable PDF version. Most of this you can find on the free version online, but this is what's in the PDF version. And I think it's only like $4 or $5, I can't remember. Anyway, field trip ideas. Obviously, the farther we get in history, there will be more ideas. But here's what I had for this, for Ancient Civilizations. Here's a organizer, so you can write your field trips down, what the date planned is, what is the corresponding week in the curriculum, and any notes you may have about it. There's also a planner for all your hands-on projects, what you might need. All right, earlier I mentioned talking about what you're studying as a family and how that really cements it in your children's brains and your own, actually. This is free. This is 21 Fascinating Facts About Ancient Civilizations. It's also available, I think it's $2, I think, for a printable PDF version of it, but it's free online, so go online unless you want to print it out and add it to your history binder like I have. This is what it looks like when it's printed out. There is a fun fact, a fascinating fun fact. Some of them are hilarious. I think your kids will love them. Print them out, they're free. But just a little trivia fact. This is a great way to start your history class each day, or you can, I've also made, in the printable version, there's also these little cards similar to the history cards. There's one for each day. You could laminate them like I have. You can set them on your kitchen table. You can put them in your purse for when you're waiting at a soccer game or whatever. And they're just really funny, fun facts. And I have these for every section in this curriculum. All right, these are the fascinating facts. What else do we have? Notes. This is just a little sheet that says my own fascinating facts for week 1. So this is just a fun little addition. If your kids find something really interesting in their studies during the week, they can write down their own fascinating facts. All right, the curriculum. Here's an example from week 1, which is the beginning of civilization. You will find, as we kind of briefly went over before, you will find reading that I have suggested in books. There's 3 books or 4 books that I use. Do you have to buy the books? No, you do not have to buy these books, because every day I also have online reading for you to do. I also have videos that go along with that online reading. And as I said earlier, I have an Explore It More section that has online games or projects that you can do with your children that are related to the day's reading. I also have little tasks to do if you're keeping a history notebook. On day 1, it says add this section's vocabulary words to your vocabulary list or your history notebook. So as the weeks go on, the amount each day is more as far as reading and things. So that's another question that people have. Do I have to do all of these things every day with my child? No, of course not. You do not have to do all of these things. They're just a suggestion. You may find one that is too advanced for the age of children that you have. Skip that. This is one other good reason why you may like to buy the PDF. As you go and read through it each day before you teach, you can highlight the ones that you want to do and leave the other ones not highlighted. And then your kids will know which videos you want them to watch or which online exploration you want them to do, or the online reading as well. You can highlight which reading that you want them to do. You may want them to do all of it. You may want them to do only one section of the reading. You'll see that in the ancient civilizations section of this history curriculum, there may be a little bit less suggestions. That was just because there is a lack of child-friendly resources out there. So you'll see that as we go on in history, there are more and more selections to choose from. But do you have to do them all? No. Pick and choose the ones you want. Add your own reading. If you're reading different books, you can write that in as well. There are notes. There are printable pages for the kids to take notes if you'd like. Some for older children, some for younger children that are more graphic in nature. All right, so this curriculum is 3 days a week, intended for 3 days a week. Could you do a little bit every day and make it 5 days a week? Absolutely. Could you add more and make this curriculum last for 12 weeks? Absolutely. This is the great thing. Use the curriculum. Don't let the curriculum use you. It'll make you crazy. If your kids are bored by one particular part, go on through it, move to the next. And if they love something and they're really into studying it, study it for 3 weeks. This is just a spine for you to go by. All right. Just more organizers to take notes for your kiddos. A vocabulary page that they can put any cool new words they just had. Another good organizer is for them to have this page, people, places, and events. So each week as they read, they can add in interesting people they read about, interesting places they read about, or interesting events that occurred. This is another great way to use those history cards. If your kids are keeping a history binder, this is a very good visual reminder of the people and places and events in chronological order that happened throughout history. All right, a little organizer for a book review. Some more places for notes. All right, that was week 1. I included this page for week 6, and I just wanted to go over, these are all ideas for hands-on activities that go along with each week. You could take these, separate them, and plug them in, picking and choosing which week you want to do it, or you can take a whole week for your history and choose which projects, or let your kids choose which projects, and put them all together and make a presentation at the end of the week on what they've been learning. Let them present their project that they've done, but all hands-on things, recipes, museum ideas, garden ideas from the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, little clay pinch pots, writing in cuneiform, the royal game of Ur. There's a way to, there's directions how to make a game and how to play it. Anyway, super fun. All right. The next pages I have are coming from this chronological history binder printables that I have. Do you have to have these? No, you do not. You can make your own, but in case you do not have the time or the interest in making your own, I made some for you. That's linked below as well. But you'll find things like a timeline, an old-fashioned type of timeline to add with the dates. Your kids can draw what they've studied, and I'll show you an example of that in just a moment that my children did. Dividers about events in history, little graphic organizers, just taking the information you've been reading, that your kids have been reading, and finding a way for them to articulate it. A worksheet, some kids love them. 2 of my kids loved worksheets. Another one did not, and he drew everything, wrote stories about things, but he did not want to use a worksheet. So whatever your kids like, do that. But this just helps them take a whole bunch of information that they've been gathering and put it down on a piece of paper. All right, isn't this sweet? This is an example from this unit, Ancient Civilizations, and this one was done by my oldest daughter when she was real little. You can tell by her art. But this is an example of taking the free history curriculum and then making it into a history binder. And like I said, I have a whole separate video about how to do that. So that will explain that more. But just so you get an idea, if I had been using this timeline, for example, this would have been a good place to put that. And she could have drawn her picture here on the front page of this timeline as she went along. People in history, also important. Graphic organizer. Like I said, they would have been great to use, but my child just drew the picture because I did not have this idea yet. So anyway, improving on what I would have done. There's Enoch and Methuselah, and Adam and Eve, Abraham's family tree that we found in a coloring book, coloring pages. And yes, in every day's history lesson, there are coloring pages that go along with each day's lesson. Okay, I think that we have covered it. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below. I hope this has helped you have a little bit of a better idea on how to use these free world history curriculum lessons and how flexible they are for your family. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching if you've made it to the end.